You think I said it right on the thing?
No.
You're not good enough to cut out one word and put one word in, are you?
Yeah, I can do that.
You can do that?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's do it together.
Ready? Regenerative.
Regenerative. I can do this all day. Welcome to episode 15 of the Not Salty podcast. I'm your host, John Bell. And as always, I am joined by my friends and co-hosts, Mike Fenton and Kristen Skeevers. In this episode, we interview our friend, Julie Friend of Wildom Farm. Julie's great grandfather, yes, that was 6 grades, was John Friend Sr., who founded the town of Friendsville, and her 5 times great-grandfather was the first settler of Sang Runs at Friends Delight, which is now the Sang Run State Park. So, as a farmer, Julie will appreciate this. Her roots run deep. In this episode, we talk about how she started her career in fashion, but made her way back to her family's farm in Garrett County to start her idea of a
regenerative
farm. Julie tells us about the life of a farmer. She talks about chickens, cows, pigs, how slippery cow poop is. She even tells us the secret of looking young. She rubs lard on her face. Julie, thank you for moving back to Garrett County and starting your farm. It's a truly beautiful place. You are having an amazing impact on the area, and we are happy to call you our friend. Keep doing what you do. Mike, hit the intro. And here we go. Welcome to episode 15 of Deep Creek Lake's premier podcast, the Not Salty podcast. Yeah, we are number 1 in the area because we are the only one in the area. A couple episodes ago, we talked about my birthday. I hit the big 4-6, and my buddy Mike Fenton just turned 34. Happy birthday, Mike.
Thank you very much.
What did you do for your birthday?
I went and stayed in the woods of New Germany State Park and got one of the cabins there. Highly recommended if you want a relatively primitive cabin with electricity and fire. Really nice wood stove, 10 miles of hiking trails.
No
Dude, I
cell
didn't
service.
think it looked that bad.
No cell
like you
service.
said, primitive. Your pictures
Dude,
looked great.
The
pictures of the cabin.
You
yeah.
get normally pictures look worse or look better. Like, and you look on New Germany online, I'm like, okay, cool, perfect. I get there, I'm like, this is really nice. Like, wow. It's like, we need to bring Lucy here. That'd be great.
And you just hit the nail on the head. No cell phone service. You just spent 24 or 48 hours doing what you wanted to do in the middle of nowhere with no interruption, playing music, walking, hiking trails, and hanging out.
Absolutely. It was, I'm very fortunate to have done that. So thanks,
birthday.
John. Thanks, Mandy.
Happy birthday. So, Kristen, I don't want to ruin the surprise, but that's what we're going to get you for your birthday.
God. A night alone in the woods.
Is that what you want? That's what everybody
wants,
right?
When is your birthday?
No, June. I'm not sure that I want to spend a night alone in the woods. That sounds kind of scary.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, there were 8 other cabins.
Oh, so you're like on a resort.
I wanted to stay at cabin 12.
I don't think
but
it's a resort.
Yeah, I wouldn't stay at resort.
They didn't have a heated pool.
So I had my drum set up, and I kept taking my cell phone outside further and further to hear if I was like recording myself. I'm like, can they hear my drum set for me playing? The answer is yes. So
wait, you got to meet them? There was other people there?
No, I waved, and I
hey.
wanted to be like, hey, can you hear my drum? Can you hang out there for a second? Let me know if you hear my drums.
That's kind of like, can you hear me snoring? Yes, the whole house can hear you snoring.
If you have to ask.
I should have asked. I should have asked because they might have been like, nope. And I'm like, sweet.
Did your bulldog Brutus snore a lot?
He did.
But wasn't it like a comforting snore? I feel that way about my bulldog Miller. It's like white noise kind of, but if my boyfriend snores, I'm like, you need to like hit the road.
I don't know how to describe the relationship I had with that dog. It was he was the best dog ever, and he's been dead for 10 if not 15 years now, but I still talk about him all the time.
Aww.
He was an English bulldog. Had him probably right after high school to about 10 years later, and yes, he snored, he farted, He was incredibly
Typical
ugly,
bulldog
but
stuff.
he was my best friend. He was just
Yeah.
the funnest, coolest dog. So I guess we should introduce you first.
Yeah, what's that? For those of you who aren't watching the video, there's a mysterious new voice.
So I should have asked you, and I'm going to mess it up, but tell me on purpose. Your farm, is it Wildland Farm or Wildwood Farm? Or we were here for 30 minutes, and I meant to ask, or is it either one of the
It's
two?
not Wildom.
What is it?
It's not
Wildom.
It's not Wildom,
Okay.
but I'm not salty about when people say it that way.
Okay. See, we're
Yeah.
educated then.
It's Wildom. So
Wildom.
it's a made up word.
Yeah.
We were kind of just thinking of the mission and vision of the farm and what we wanted to do with the landscape. And we wanted to create a place where we, raise domesticated animals, but still left space for all that is wild. And we came up with Wildom, wild and domestic put together.
I like it. Do you sell T-shirts?
I should sell.
They would be pretty
t-shirts.
cool. I would get a Wildom T-shirt.
Yeah,
Me too.
I've only dabbled in merch. I have some tote bags with some really cool illustrations of our animals.
Yeah.
But yeah, I need shirts.
So we're obviously real estate junkies, and I've seen your farm from the road.
gotta
I've
come
seen
back the
the
driveway.
buildings. I think my kids went there one time. Didn't you have like an open house one time, maybe a couple years ago, where you invited people to see them? Or, like some
We've done several open to the public farm tours.
Okay.
So maybe it was one of those.
cool.
Yeah.
It looks beautiful. How many acres do you have?
So the farm, I will say, is my parents' property.
Okay.
But it's 154 acres.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've got I guess from the road, we're seeing a house and some barns and 154 acres right there. And what do you have there?
Yeah, so the property is divided up into 90 acres of pasture, and then the rest of it, aside from the couple acres that surrounding the house, is all wooded. So we do multi-species livestock on a pasture and forest-based system. So we raise pigs in the woods, and we do cattle and sheep on pasture. We raise turkeys and chickens.
Okay. The little bit I know about cows is I was showing a farm for sale today, and it was it wasn't early morning. It was mid-morning-ish, and it was cold out, so it was the ground was kind of crusty. And I stepped over an electric fence, broke through what I eventually found out was cow manure. And once I went through the thin ice layer on top of the cow manure, it was really slippery, and I fell down. And that's
rough.
about my experience with
That's
cows.
slippery as shit, man.
It was slippery. So I had to run home and change pants before I went back to the office. But how many cattle do you guys have?
We have currently around 35 cattle.
And what do you do with them? You butcher them or on site, or do you sell them, or how do you do that?
Yeah, so everything that we raise, we sell directly to consumers. So you can come to our farm and you can buy bacon from us, and not ribeyes because they're sold out, but ribeyes from us and ground lamb and all of the things directly from our farm. We actually just opened up a farm store. So it's really, really convenient for people to come see everything that we have and shop our product. So everything.
Is the farm store right there on the property?
It is.
Okay,
Yeah.
so to give you a plug, it's right across from kind of Mountain State Brewery.
It is
if you
right
know where
across from Mountain
Brewery
State
is.
Brewery. We don't have a farm sign, but maybe by the time this podcast episode airs, we will have a farm sign.
Well, the day that this comes out, you have the ribbon cutting
Oh,
and the open
yeah.
house. So I'm really excited about that.
yeah, so
No, walk us through it. It'd be really cool if we launched it on the same day.
It
Did
is.
you
No,
do
it
this?
is. It's on St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
nice
you guys
and
should all
lucky.
come over. So on St. Patrick's Day, which will be today.
Okay. We can see the future. Do
It's
that.
a Friday. St. Patrick's Day
Yeah,
on
it's
Friday?
Yeah.
Friday. And so we're doing the ribbon cutting ceremony at 12 p.m. The farm store is open, and we are also going to be grilling and selling pork burgers.
Dude, I'm there. I've never had a pork burger.
Oh,
Is it
they're
good?
amazing.
It's ground
Yeah,
pork, right?
the ones it's ground pork.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's ground pork. I mix up the recipe all the time based on what I can get from other local farmers. So, because we incorporate a pickled vegetable, some sort of aioli or sauce, things like that, lettuce. So we'll have pork burgers. We'll have bonfires going, BYOB. You can walk around and see the animals.
So this is awesome. I didn't know. So if you're local and you want to go get steaks or hamburger or pork burgers.
They have
whatever.
jerky sticks. I mean, like the store.
I have meat sticks in my backpack for everyone here.
We want some.
Oh, I'm so excited.
If you come here on vacation, you can swing by your store and grab a couple of steaks and all your meat, is it organic or how do you just farm?
Yeah, so
raised,
we
what's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, so we practice regenerative agriculture.
What does that mean?
So the way that I look at what we do in regenerative agriculture is I say we produce good food that's good for the animals, good for the land, and good for you. So we prioritize animal welfare, ecology, and human health. And that's kind of the way we look at every single thing that we do. So are we producing food in a way that is creating a positive ecological impact? Are we farming in a way that is producing healthy soils? Are we, retaining water instead of creating unnecessary runoff? Do we have increased biodiversity? What is this doing for the wildlife? So all of those things we basically want to farm in harmony with nature and produce food in a way that's good.
Wow. And you, I don't want to ask your age, but you're incredibly young. How did you get here? How did you
So
figure this
I'm
out?
actually not that young.
You look very young, and I'm assuming you are.
I do look really young, but do you want to know my secret?
It's up to you.
Fresh air.
Organic grass-fed beef.
So I do
And
eat
lamb.
some of
Ooh,
the
plot
most
twist.
nutrient-dense meat in the
Yeah.
world, but I also put lard on my skin.
Wow.
So if
You heard it here
I'm
first. Neutrogena out of business.
I'm just picturing Silence of
do
the
you
Lambs.
prefer lard over tallow? I mean, is that like pig fat versus
Yeah,
cow
so the difference between lard and tallow, lard is pig fat, tallow is beef or lamb fat. And I prefer lard. I do prefer lard over tallow.
fat? Okay.
I think
personal preference.
Yeah, so
Okay.
lard has a more mild smell and yeah, and
That's
also
surprising to me,
I think
honestly.
from like a sustainability perspective too, when you look at a pig versus a grass-fed cow, grass-fed cows are lean, just like all ruminant animals are lean. Deer are lean, bison are lean. So you don't get as much fat. Like the amount of fat that you get from a grass-fed beef, you should really be consuming. But pigs have more fat than you can consume with their meat. So there's an excess of fat, which is why it's always been used for cooking and even for skincare and cosmetics,
As a
soaps.
high smoke.
No. So the smoke point is like higher than olive oil, but it's slightly lower than tallow. I don't know the exact degree of
Okay.
smoke point, but like we were able to use it for frying.
Wings and stuff.
Yeah, for wings.
Which, by the way, you just recently had an event at the public house in Friendsville, right?
Yes, we did. We just did a big brunch event, which was incredible.
It was pretty successful.
It was pretty successful. It was preset menu, 4 courses. You get what you get. And we made everything from scratch. I have gained literally 10 pounds because I've been
All water.
trying to
Yeah.
perfect this buckwheat pancake recipe. Yeah, so I've been eating so many buckwheat pancakes. If I smell sweet, like maple syrupy, that's why.
Coming out of your
That's what I
pores.
use on my skin.
Maple syrup.
Yeah, it's great.
Not for any health purposes. I just like it.
Yeah, you just like the way it
Buttery
feels.
So hold on. Enough. So this is totally out of my character or totally out of my realm of experience. And it's kind of funny because today I took a screenshot of Facebook because Pastor Dave put some up there and
Yeah, I saw
I
that.
snapped it to you and Kristen, Mike and Kristen. And underneath of that was I was actually embarrassed after I sent it to you because underneath of that was an advertisement that said, "Do you want to feel younger? Put this lotion on your face."
Wait,
I don't know.
I have to look at that.
You guys didn't even notice?
No.
So I
Was it a commercial for the farm?
no, I don't know. I don't
some
know what
lard
it
on
was,
it.
but
I was gonna say we teed
I
that up.
I have some of our moisturizer.
Wait.
So we actually make
This
the
is what I'm hitting at. Do you
moisturizer.
sell it?
Yeah, so we
Like
do
out
sell
of
the moisturizer.
lard.
Yeah,
Okay.
so out of lard. So it's
So
very
I'm picturing like a can of Crisco. You're not talking about that, right?
No,
So
that's
Crisco-
shortening.
Crisco
Okay.
is fake lard.
Yeah.
Crisco actually like came out as a byproduct of the cotton seed industry, and that's when
Okay.
they started marketing lard is bad, Crisco's good. Why would you
Heart healthy.
Exactly. Why
There
would you
you
use
go.
the cooking oil of your grandmother? It was like this whole scheme to target women to use Crisco
So
instead of
that's-
lard.
That's actually
Yeah.
a very good argument. I don't know why, but I have a TV downstairs at my house that gets Samsung TV on it. And for whatever reason, Samsung free TV plays like these really old shows just when you first turn it on. And I don't know, people a long time ago were a lot healthier looking than they are nowadays. And
No kidding.
when you kind of went through that, it made me wonder, and I read something about it. If we're eating a tomato today, it is very likely that's not the same tomato that our grandparents ate. You know
Tomatoes
what I mean?
are
Or
so sad, too.
or whatever. You know what I mean? So there is something that brings food back to food. So you're actually growing and selling what I think we can call as real food, right?
Yeah, it's definitely real food. And I think like when we do these events, when we do these brunch events or with our pork burgers or whatever, we are sourcing all of the other ingredients. So, you know, the animal proteins and animal fats are going to be from our farm, but then everything else we are sourcing locally and seasonally. You brought up that, you know, maybe you wanted to come to the brunch, but was there a vegetarian option? And I was just like, I could potentially do something vegetarian in the summer, but during the winter months, vegetables aren't growing. And I think like a really big part of what I believe in and our mission at Wildom is to connect people through their food, and that food should be produced locally. And so if you live in Garrett County,
Sure.
yeah, so it's just about what is available when it's available.
And also, it sounds like you're working on the process of making this a sustainable business practice, right? You know, because like it's like, all right, you don't want to. You can talk about being local and stuff like that, but nobody's like wanting to starve to death either. Like it's good that we have food coming from wherever, but it's not as nutrient dense, right? So yeah, you're filling your belly, but you're not giving your body what it needs, you know. And I think what I see that people have a challenge with is turning that practice into, especially coming from a city area, but like turning that practice into a sustainable business model. Are you finding success in that as well? I mean, is it?
Yeah, I mean, I want it to be sustainable for the consumer to be able to like participate in their food that they're eating, like participate in the way that they know their farmer's name, that they're, you know, maybe spending more because they're buying it from their local farmer, but knowing that they're getting more, knowing that they're getting more nutritional value, like knowing that money, you're voting with your money, right? You're putting that money back into your local economy. Yeah.
Well, I can argue it's worth more too.
100%.
We for nutritional reasons, but then also if you're just talking about it's better food. I didn't realize this until recently. You know, if you go to Walmart and buy steaks from Walmart, that's one thing, right? This past year, we went in with 3 of our neighbors, so 4 families together, and we bought a cow. We bought it from the fair, and Johnny Hayhurst butchered
amazing.
it.
Yeah.
And my one neighbor knew a lot about this, so he had the steaks cut 1.5 inches thick instead of a 1/2 inch thick or whatever, right? Those steaks that we're eating are not the same as the steak you get from Walmart. Like I'm telling you, it is mouth-watering, way, way, way better. You feel better about it because you know where it came from. You know, it's grass-fed. You know, it's not, you know, it's a real cow, for example. I actually saw it. And it's just way, way better, too.
Right. And like, how cool is it to be that connected to your food, that you saw the animal and you know what's in your freezer, and you know the person who raised it, and you know the person who even butchered it for you.
Yeah. I felt a little bad for the I won't mention her name because she was younger, but the girl we bought it from, she raised it and she loved it, and obviously she knew that she was a farmer. She knew where it was going to be, and she was upset. But then she sent us a thank you card, and you know, it's the farmer life. You know, good for her.
So did you do like 4-H and stuff when you were a kid? Did you go to fairs? Like, were you into that?
No, I went to the fair the first time this year.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where I learned about cow patty.
So
bingo.
not the, not the best running. We have to bring that up. I in the preamble when we meet in the kitchen and hang out or whatever before we come in here, you guys were talking about cow patty bingo. Kristen, please explain.
Well, no, I thought it was different than it is. It's a tradition that they do.
Cow patty bingo.
Yeah, cow patty bingo. It happens every year at the Garrett County Fair. But I thought that it was different than it is. But then Julie, I guess, went and saw it, and we should do it better. So we have a better idea now.
I do have a really good idea.
I don't think everybody understands what we're talking about.
Okay.
So cow
patty bingo is like you have a sheet with numbers on it. You paid, so there's only so many numbers. I don't know. We'll say 30 numbers or 50 numbers or whatever on the sheet. So like you get one number. So only 50 people could win. It's not really traditional bingo. It's just like if that cow shits on your number, then you win the money.
You can swear.
So
Don't make me say fuck again.
but I think, we can say fuck too.
Yeah, there's
Okay,
a little
good.
sign next to
She's a
it.
girl after my own heart.
So at the fair, they bring the cow out into like a small kind of pen, and people are watching, and the cow is by itself, and it just has to, basically poop on one of the numbers for somebody to win.
There's something to this. This is going to be on Netflix in a couple years.
Oh,
there
right
is
next to
something
Tiger
to
King.
this. Yes. If Tiger King can make it, this can make it. Tiger King was good. I liked it.
I didn't watch Tiger King. I
watched
just
it.
couldn't bring my. I
got
enough
addicted. It was right in the beginning of COVID.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, it was good timing.
So if the cow poops on your square, you win bingo.
Exactly.
I mean,
But there can be more than one winner, or is it just
No,
first
just
person?
one, first person. First number that it poops on.
Well, my comment was, I was like, "Good Lord, how long does this game last?" And you were like, "Oh no, they poop a lot." So I mean,
So they do. Cows do poop a lot. My experience at the fair, the cow wasn't pooping, and then they had to bring in another cow.
They were like, "Sorry, folks, this she's not usually like this."
Stage fright.
It was, yeah. So I think it was stage fright. So I want to do cow petty bingo, where the cows, like my herd of cows, we move them into a new paddock, and then we could basically digitally, like we could project the bingo
Yeah, on the grass.
thing. Yeah, not really projected. It would just be like on a screen
Yeah.
projected. Like they do on football.
Yes.
Like how they do on
I
football.
see. I thought you were talking
Yeah.
about like you have a drone up there and it's
No,
like,
I mean like it'd be projected on the screen.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. Okay.
Yes.
Makes more
and
sense. now.
then basically I feel like the cows are comfortable, they're in their herd, they're gonna definitely shit. And
this will work if you add mezcal to the.
Yeah.
It's going to
Especially-
take
should we
some.
have,
no,
should
we'll-
we have
we'll do
liberated
cow.
libations through the bar?
Yes. By the way, I got to book them.
Give them a plug
They
real
need to come
quick.
on. Joni and
Yes.
Lee, get up here.
Oh yes.
So you can do a cow patty bingo power hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, now it's a drinking game.
Yeah.
Now you got a bunch of drunk people around some gigantic animals.
Yeah, but
What's your insurance policy?
No. You do it from home.
can you imagine
Oh, yes.
how much fun it would be though to have like 30 people who are really drunk just waiting for cows to shit? Like they'd be clapping
It's
and
so
cheering.
So
like,
we'll have liberated
great.
libations do the bar, and then we'll have us do a live stream podcast.
There we
I'm
go.
telling you, this
I
will
think-
make Netflix.
Yeah.
I'm all about this.
So,
This is so stupid.
I
I'm all
think
about
like
it.
the other
I'm
thing
in.
that was so weird to me about the cow patty bingo situation was that like you felt a little bit bad for this animal that was like scared to poop, because like all these people were watching it, and then it was just like weird because I was like, what am I doing with my life that I'm sitting here waiting for a cow to poop? But at my farm, like I will watch the cows for hours
yeah.
because it's just
Yeah.
beautiful to see them walk and eat grass and like they just move and in such a really pretty rhythm. So I feel like gathering people to do that and the projection would be just a nice community event.
It'd be fun.
we're
I'm
all
in.
You're in the right place for it. Let's just put it that way.
The
There-
audience is here.
Some of our listeners right now are listening and being like, "What?" But they want to
nobody-
go. They're like, "Oh, I'm in. I'm going to be there. I'm going to go check that out."
Yeah.
For sure.
So I bought a property. I don't want to call it a farm because it's not a farm. It is 25 acres, and we subdivided for my neighbor and I each have about 6, and we've got 13 acres in common. And we really, really, really want to buy an animal.
One animal?
I don't know.
No, you cannot buy one animal.
can't.
This
This
is
is
why
where
you shouldn't.
Okay.
This is why
explain.
I want
Because
they're all herd
something.
animals.
Yeah.
You
I
can't
wanna
just have one.
Okay, well maybe we get 2 or 3.
See, okay,
this is why I'm
Mandy, are you
asking
paying attention?
questions.
Because she wanted to like rescue a cow. She was like, I get one
No.
cow.
I'll just keep my dog.
No,
You
wait,
have-
that's probably worse because now we have to get 10.
Well,
Damn it.
Kristen, was it you? Somebody told me if you only have, maybe it was Craig, if you only have one cow, it gets mean, right?
That's
You
what
gotta-
happened to my
Yeah.
cow. That's what I'm saying.
Right. They
I
are
think that was
herd
Craig.
animals. I mean, all of them are like
Yeah.
cattle, sheep, for sure.
Have you heard of a fainting
Pigs.
sheep?
But it's a goat.
A fainting goat? Have you heard of a fainting
People
goat?
do confuse goats and sheep a lot.
So
They can look similar.
the fainting one of whichever those who they are, apparently goat. I want one of those. It's awesome. So they have, if you're at home right now and if you want a good laugh, Google fainting goats or sheep. It might be one of the two.
It's a goat.
And they have heart problems or something. So you walk up to them
That's so sad.
and you look at them and you go, ah, and they will get so nervous they pass out and they faint.
I've heard of them.
That would be better than cow patty bingo, and I don't know where you buy those.
If they whatever number they pass out.
No, so mean.
I know exactly. Like
this is why there needs to be girls in here.
Yeah, we're trying to do like
it's
an
like a
ethical.
possum.
I agree that it's mean. I just thought it was a good idea.
It's their defense mechanism. They're like possums. They're just playing possum.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Leave them
Google it.
alone.
It's
Do
hilarious.
goat yoga, but don't scare the goats.
Trust
into
me,
fainting.
Google that if you're listening. It is hilarious.
The screaming goats.
Okay, so we're gonna get past that. But if we decide to raise animals, we need to get several of them. It's not cool to just get one.
I mean, I feel like you at least need a pair.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't want one
I
animal
need something
by
that's very
itself.
low maintenance.
Should get chickens.
My neighbor has those.
I thought you had chickens.
Chickens are the best.
I'm gonna call him there. He does all the work.
Oh, okay.
They're on our property. He does all the work, and he's probably our number one fan, so he's gonna get a kick out of this. I'm sure I'll jack up this
He's
story,
your chicken
but
tender.
he is much. He is
Dude,
our-
John, you got to get him a T-shirt for his birthday.
Chicken tender.
Brent, I know you are listening. You are forever forward known as the chicken tender. So no, this is hilarious. So Brent decides he wants to raise chickens, and we were like, yeah, let's go get some chickens. So he does all the work. I've never done anything. Goes like to Tractor Supply and buys 100 chickens. Okay, and I think the lady was like, well, half of them are gonna die or whatever. So you get 100, there'll be
That's
50
a high
left.
percentage.
But they all lived.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect 50% of the chicks to die.
Weren't a bunch of them ducks?
Well, no, like 2 of them were ducks. Like he wanted like 100 chickens. 2 were ducks.
Ducks are really different than chickens.
Well, they flew away.
Yeah, I was gonna say they usually leave. don't
They were just gone, and Brent is
These are mallards. What are those?
he's gonna absolutely love this. He's like super handy. He can build anything, and he's smart, and he Googles stuff. And he built this chicken coop on an old trailer. And you walk out of you flip this thing up, you grab the chicken eggs out of it, and it's got solar panels.
Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
It's great. And we move it around the property so it doesn't get pooped too much everywhere or whatever.
Wait, what's his last name?
McHenry? Do you know Brent?
Yeah, I know him and his wife Krista.
Oh no, there
When you
are.
were saying this, I was like, wait.
Yeah,
Is
so
this the McHenry?
if you know where they're building, we're their neighbors.
Solar panel chicken coops. Could there be?
They're probably our best friends. So yes, they built that, and it's been a neat experience. None of them died, but then here recently they stopped making eggs. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Brent was like, well, guess we're gonna get rid of the chickens. And but then they switched food and they started making eggs again.
Yeah, I heard this story from Krista too. I mean, it
So
was
you know them. You know the McHenrys?
Yeah, they're a good customer.
He is going to love this. Brent is our number one fan.
I love that he listens to the podcast.
I gave him a hat, by the way.
Oh,
That's
good.
amazing.
He deserves one.
That's amazing.
Honorary.
Yeah, I heard this story about their chickens and the food, and it was kind of a thing that was going around that people's chickens were like not laying eggs, and they connected it to something either that was being omitted from the food, like maybe a protein. Like I don't know exactly what it was. It was either something that was being omitted or like replaced with something else, but then they weren't getting the
In
right
the chicken feed.
nutritional requirements.
That's what he said. And
Wild.
So they
saw Kelsey
changed. Yeah, so
posted
then
something
they
about that.
changed their food, and they said their
Yep.
chickens started producing again.
like, how unfortunate is that for the chickens? Like, think about
Eggs
this.
got up to like $9
These chickens
a
were
dozen.
about to just be gone, and then all of a sudden they started making eggs again because Brent decided to
Like
buy
try a
some
different
different
feed.
It's a
food.
metaphor
Well,
for
yeah.
life, man. You
Yeah.
better
Do
produce.
that, Yeah. Top producing chickens.
And I don't remember. He was getting it from somewhere near his daughter's college, and he brought it up here, and he was like, "Oh, I'll just buy it somewhere else." And it was just the different type of food just made all the difference.
Wild.
Yeah, we get all of our feed. So we can get into this about like the difference between the grass-fed animals and the animals that are fed, that
Yeah.
we feed grain. So cattle and sheep are ruminant animals, so they're herbivores and they can just eat grass, and that will it will fulfill all of their nutritional requirements, just grass. But then other animals like chickens, turkeys, and pigs, they're omnivores. And so they require, different amounts of protein and whatnot. And so we do supplement their feed. And that's why, you would give chickens feed in addition to like whatever they're foraging, just to make sure that they're meeting all of their nutritional requirements.
So I think that's really interesting because I listened to a podcast a couple
you
years
listen to
ago.
Other podcasts?
Yeah, this is like back in
That's how you
college.
get good at it.
Yeah.
And they were saying like chickens are supposed to eat meat. They're supposed to eat grub.
they're
They're supposed to
omnivores.
eat worms.
Yeah.
But you will see in the store, the pack says vegetarian eggs, and a consumer might pick that up thinking, oh, that's good.
So conscious.
Right. But like they should be eating grub and worm. Like you don't want a vegetarian
should we-
chicken.
Should
Like
we
that's
talk about how labels are bullshit?
yeah.
As a matter of fact,
I would actually
hold on.
love to get into that.
Let's talk about that.
Think about
We need
this.
a
Like
lesson.
you just brought up Crisco, whatever, all that kind of stuff. Marketing leads you to think that's a very good example. Like your normal person, what is that?
That's my job, but it's
They
fine.
would-
Go ahead and shit on marketing.
But, no, I'm
Why
saying
don't you tell us about marketing?
no.
I'm
'Cause
just
we
kidding.
don't lie. I hope we don't. Good
No.
grief.
Although our symbol is red.
But so the point being, marketing these people, I would think of like me not knowing any better. I'm like, ooh, a vegetarian chicken, how nice. But
Yeah.
no, I guess
Yeah.
that's
I know.
not right.
That's what I mean. Like the average person. So yeah, labels are super misleading because they're catchy.
They're like honestly meant to confuse consumers.
See,
Yeah. And I think
natural
There's-
flavors.
What are you
yeah,
salty
or
about?
even like grass fed. Like if you go to the grocery store and you see grass fed beef, it doesn't really tell you that much insight about the animal. Like they could have been still raised in a feedlot, but hay was brought to them, or alfalfa pellets. It's like if you read grass fed beef, you're thinking those cows are out on pasture eating lush grass,
That's what I'm
right?
picturing in my head. Like the commercial on TV, the happy cow and the milk and the whatever.
The viewer at home, she just rolled her eyes.
But yeah, so that's super frustrating because the labels are and things like even like pasture raised chicken. So if something says pasture raised chicken at the grocery store, the requirement to label something with that term is that they had access to pasture. So that could mean they're raised in a building, but there's a door that goes out to
Oh, good
an
Lord.
outside lot. And if you are familiar with chickens, like if you leave them in one area, I mean, they poop on everything, and then nothing grows because it will grow if you move them because their manure is so like full of nitrogen. But if you just keep them in the same area, nothing is ever going to grow. So is it really pasture raised? Did all those birds even make their way outside, or did they just make their way over to the feeders?
There's no requirement for that, right?
No, like it's not required that they go outside. Roll call, ladies.
Recess.
So Brent is our number one fan. The number two is my mom. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is when I grew up when I was real little, we lived on the eastern shore of Virginia, and there were a bunch of chicken farms in Purdue and stuff down there. And for a brief second, my parents decided they might want to be chicken farmers. And we went and looked at a couple of them. And this is me at 10 years old remembering it. It's exactly what you described it. There were these gigantic buildings filled with chickens that smelled like crap. And I don't think that really counts as pasture-fed chicken.
Are
No.
your animals antibiotic free and stuff like that too? Because I know that's hard to do, right? I mean,
It's not. They are antibiotic free. We don't give antibiotics. I would give an antibiotic if it was necessary.
Sure.
Like, but
yeah,
I
to
but we-
treat any.
to treat something.
sickness,
I'm not like gonna let the animal die.
Yeah, right.
Instead of giving an antibiotic.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're not we're not giving antibiotics regularly.
Well, from what I understand, when you have like mass amounts of creatures that are living, like for example, like the environment that those chickens were living in, it's almost impossible to keep them alive without the antibiotics, right? Is that
Yeah.
like another aspect to
Oh,
that type of farming? Too?
Definitely. Like exactly. I think that's exactly the point. Like they can't survive in that environment unless you're giving them things to be able to survive. And so we raise all of our animals outside 365 days a year.
Mm-hmm.
Our animals are outside. They don't get moved into a barn ever. They have, some shelters outside. And like for our cattle and sheep, we give them more wooded access in the winter so that they have windbreak and whatnot. And the pigs have like little pig huts that they sleep in. But
That's going to be pretty cute.
That
It
sounds
is
like a good
super
name for a
cute.
bar.
Yeah.
Pig hut.
but yeah, I think it just
If you open a bar, you got to name it Pig Hut.
Yeah.
I think I gotta name it Hogwash.
Ooh,
I'm down.
that's even better.
That's good.
But yeah, so we're raising them outside, and not only are we raising them outside, but we're consistently moving them. So the cows and sheep are getting moved, and the egg-laying chickens, they're actually all in a paddock together. So they're all in one paddock together, and they all like coexist in there. They're moved every single day to fresh pasture. Our pigs are moved 7 days to 10 days. So they're constantly being moved away from their manure, and then we will allow that area, whatever they were in, to rest for a considerate amount of time, depending on the species, depending on the impact that they had, because we want everything to regrow, recover. We want the manure to be absorbed by the soil. And that just keeps the animals healthy.
So this is stupid to say because it's very obvious. But with our chicken coop, Brent's chicken coop, he moves it. And when the chickens are there, it's just this great big circle of just dirt. Like they eat everything, right? Then we move it, and that's the healthiest, freshest grass.
Yeah,
It
it's like
grows
so
back
bright
fast.
green.
Like,
Yeah.
yes, no, it's if you want a pretty yard, get some chickens and put them around there. I mean,
Yeah.
So do your chickens just like run around and then they go back in the coop at the end of the night so foxes don't get them?
in my opinion, it is every example of free range chickens in the world. Like, so Brent even rigged up this door, right? And there's a solar panel on there. And at nighttime, the door will beep. And if the chickens will know the beep and they'll go inside. And
Yeah.
if they don't go inside, they're probably going to die. But
they will go inside. Like we have the solar
they
doors
figured it
too.
out. Yeah, they're
that's
smarter than you would
so
think.
when it starts getting dark, they go inside. It's just a natural instinct.
Do you
for them
have
to
one
wanna
that
be
they
in the
don't
coop.
like? Because here's where I'm headed at. We were sitting here and watch them. We had this, I don't know, the kids name the chickens. I don't know their names. Like one's peanut butter.
All
one's
100 of
jelly or
them?
whatever. It's,
I don't know. You're
I don't even know. But
very inquisitive.
so there was one of them that the other chickens didn't like, and they were so societal or whatever. They would like keep trying to push him out the door. It was so jacked up. Like you could totally
Another
tell.
metaphor for life, man. Some people are just damned.
That-
I don't know.
So this
it's
poor
unfortunate.
chicken.
I mean,
Either
I
in the
think
coop or
that,
out of it.
Like
Yeah.
we were talking about how animals are herd species. They prioritize the herd over individuals. So if there is an individual, I mean, that chicken could have been sick or weak or something like that, and that might have
Or a
been the
jerk.
reason, right? Like it might have been the reason that they were like, no, because the herd, basically the flock, is better without you than
Damn.
with you.
That's natural selection.
Well,
at its
maybe that's why
finest.
98 of them lived and that guy didn't.
They got their shit together real quick.
It is so jacked up. And there were 4 roosters there, and then now there's only 3 because Tom, I hope you're listening. They were noisy. Anyway, no, Tom was right. They were noisy. So now there's only 1, and he's the man. Like
Yeah.
that rooster now, he's the man. Like every once in a while he'll get, I guess, cocky is where it comes from, and he'll come at you and get you, and it's kind of fun. You just get to kick him and go.
So,
back in his place.
will egg, like in this situation or on your farm, will eggs naturally fertilize if you don't pick them? Like,
yeah.
so do you have chicks
right,
hatching on the
exactly.
farm?
So the egg will be fertilized as long as you have a rooster with the hens. The egg is already fertilized before it comes out of the chicken.
Okay.
So then when it's laid, it's either fertilized or it's not fertilized, and they have to sit on it for like 21 days for something to hatch.
Okay.
So a fertilized egg is not going to look any different than an unfertilized egg if you're collecting it on the first
So
day.
walk me
Yeah.
through this. You don't have to refrigerate them. Like I believe it, I know it,
So-
I've eaten them, but you
Yeah.
don't refrigerate them, right?
So
As long as you don't wash them.
yes,
yeah, so if you don't wash them, you don't have to refrigerate them. So they have I mean, they're meant to become a chick. So the eggs come out with a natural, it's called their bloom. It's a natural, like antibacterial coating just from the hen in order to preserve the egg so that a chick can be hatched.
yeah.
So if you don't wash it, the bloom is still there. No bacteria can get into it.
And so I don't know. In America, we're used to washed eggs. And
It's legally,
in
we have
Europe,
to.
Well, yeah,
they don't.
Yeah, so like in
because-
order for me to sell eggs legally, I have to wash them.
Brent,
But
pay
you
attention.
do. I mean, there is bacteria. Is that why you give them away? No, but
Ours are Brent's are donations.
so like the bacteria is on the outside of the egg, right? So like they're good on the inside, but you want to watch, like even if you gave us, or you could sell unwashed eggs.
right. The bacteria
I would
could
still
be
want to
still
wash
on the
them
outside.
before I use
So
them.
that's what we do. We wash them real
Right.
quick and then
So
we use
exactly,
them.
because the
They're
bacteria
refrigerated
or
and then
anything
use them.
could be on the outside, or even like poop, because
Yeah,
like
exactly.
it's the same.
Oh, there's poop on
It
Yeah.
comes from the same place.
It's a cloacal. It's a cloacal thing.
Hey, do you put
So-
golf balls in there to trick them?
What?
That's what we do. So I don't know why, but in the little,
Are you sure that they're
so you
actually-
can train the hens to where to lay the eggs. You put golf balls in there, and they're like, "Oh, look, there's a golf ball. It must be an egg." And they start. It's great.
All
No,
chickens
I've
are
actually
classic
never
moms.
had that issue. Like, I feel like they just lay.
You're actually
well,
way more
unless-
educated than this we're ever going to dream to be. Let me show you someday.
That's amazing. No, I've never heard of that trick.
Oh.
It was on YouTube.
The vast expanse.
Okay, so we've talked about chickens. Oh my gosh, excuse me. Hopefully you can edit that out a little bit, Mike. Sorry for my coughing. But
It's staying.
so where do you walk me through another animal's life? Because chickens live for a while, right? So
Egg-laying chickens live for a while.
say that I'm going to buy a cow from you or a pig from you. Where go cows because they're easier? Where does that cow come from? Is it born on your property, or do you source it from another farm, or how do you get the baby cow?
Yeah, how do you get cows?
Yeah, so
They're
I could
calves,
walk
but-
you through like every
Cyclists,
species.
bikers,
So
whatever.
chickens, our egg-laying chickens we buy as chicks, and then yes, you're right, they do live a long time because they can lay eggs for several years. Our meat chickens, so the chickens that we raise for meat, we raise chickens for meat from like spring through fall. That's when they can be on pasture their whole lives. We buy those as chicks too. Hatching chicks is a whole other
okay.
thing that we're not set up to do, and it just requires
A specialist.
a specialist basically. But
We
then
put
with
him
our,
in an aquarium with a heat lamp on it. That's in Brent's,
Yeah.
in Brent's garage.
so I mean, yes, we could hatch, but like this year we're going to be doing 1,800 chickens.
Oh,
so
my
yeah, so yeah, we're
That's a lot
not
of
we're not
chicks.
hatching them all. With our sheep, our pigs, and our cows, we are they're all born on farm, with the exception of, so our cattle, we are still growing our herd, so we have had to buy calves in order to like supplement as the herd grows, if that makes sense. So like they only have 8, like we had 8 moms and they had 8 calves, but then we bought 6 calves to like be able to have, I can't do math, but
okay, good enough.
14.
I'm a
14.
farmer,
So-
not a mathematician.
Yes. So, but we should be actually done with that. So right now we will have.
You can get to a point where you're self-sustained. you
Yeah.
think?
So we're definitely self-sustained with our sheep, and we're definitely self-sustained with the pigs. So the pigs are born on the farm in the woods. Spend every day in our woods. They literally see concrete and they see synthetic light for the first time when they go to the slaughterhouse. Like they, yeah.
So they live a very good life until they don't.
Yeah.
Well, until they
have-
don't live,
They
yeah.
have one bad day.
You know, it's funny. We all do.
I think we have way more.
Yeah, I
than
have
one
way
bad
more than one
day.
bad days.
Kristen, hold it together. Hey, so I ducked into Walmart real quick today to get my hair cut because it had been too long. And it's kind of funny. The lady who was cutting my hair there I was just talking to her, and she said she grew up in Friendsville, and her husband's grandparents owned a farm. And I was like, well, how'd you get into cutting hair? And she goes, well, at the farm, they had a cow, and it was a breech calf. Maybe something's going wrong. She goes, so I decided to cut hair. Like, it's not easy.
Oh.
Like, I mean, having, like, I'm
I
assuming.
did not.
Cutting
I
hair,
didn't know
John.
where.
Like-
I didn't know
Understand,
where
yeah.
that was
No,
going.
this
I
is-
was
She's so traumatized by the birth
She was
that
literally.
she got out of farming.
Yeah, she
Okay.
was like,
All
no,
right.
you don't understand. It wasn't, I guess you've seen other normal births. This birth wasn't normal. Then the baby cow lived and the mom didn't. And she was
Yeah.
like, nope. I started cutting hair.
Yeah, I mean,
it
it's
was-
definitely
it's
really
not easy.
Yeah, no, it's not easy, and I think there's really like high highs, and then there's really low lows, and
Sure.
I don't know. The highs make it worth it. It's all part of the roller coaster, I guess. But
So what did you do before this? There has to be something that led to this. Were you into cooking? Were you into 4-H? Like what led to this?
no, we've already established I was not into 4-H or agriculture ever. It's yeah. So I have no agricultural background, like at all. I I worked in fashion for a while. So I'm from the Pittsburgh area, and I started working at Nordstrom there in college. And then Nordstrom took me to Cincinnati, and then Cincinnati took me to Chicago. Wow. So I lived in Chicago, and then while I was living in Chicago working for Nordstrom, I started going to a bunch of estate sales and finding like really amazing vintage clothing and furniture. And my really good friend Bridget would come to these estate sales with me, and we just started. So we had all these customers from Nordstrom, and then we started like kind of this little side hustle of selling them all this like really cool stuff that we'd find at estate sales. And so that sort of got me into like the sustainability mindset. Like I was like, very okay, cool. We're producing all of this clothing when like all this amazing stuff already exists. That's one of a kind, incredible. So anyway, we decided to leave Nordstrom, start our own vintage and resale boutique. And then we did that. And through that, we brought in, it kind of turned from us curating the collection that was in the store to us it was like a marketplace. So all of these other vintage sellers would come in and they would set up racks, and then we would just run the space, and we changed it out every month. So every month we rotated new vendors into the space. And it was really amazing, and it was really cool because we were able to bring in all of these like local brands and all of these vintage sellers, and it was totally like a sustainable business where people were, buying resale and really, really cool pieces. And while all that was going on, I went down a whole like health journey. I started eating more whole foods, cooking from scratch, and then joined a yoga studio. And just through all of that, I kind of realized how much the food that I was eating impacted my health. Like it was something that I didn't really think about before, which at the point that I'm at now, it sounds so crazy that I didn't think about it before. But I think it's just like, when you're growing up and you're eating,
you don't think
whatever you're eating.
You don't
not
know what you
that
don't
my
know.
parents fed me poorly or anything like that. But
wrapped in plastic.
Exactly, you're in college, and then you're single, and you're in your 20s, and you're moving around.
So wait,
and you're
ramen's not organic?
So, I'm sure they make organic ramen.
There's
See,
no way
the
they make
label.
Wait,
There's
organic.
the label
You just eat them before you
thing.
cook it, right? You just eat it raw. And then
It is wild dumb.
Yeah, so I started making that connection, and then that kind of led me to shopping at the farmer's market, right? Because before that, I was buying all of these whole foods, and I was cooking from scratch, and I was feeling so much better, and I was functioning so much better. And then I was like, you know what? I have a farmer's market right down the street. And one summer, I was like, I'm going to buy as many ingredients as I can from the farmer's market this summer. Like I set an intention to do that. And then I was there every week, and I had so many questions about stuff. So I just started talking to all the farmers, and I was like, wow, there are so many different ways to produce food. And one of the farmers that I bought stuff from, this term regenerative agriculture came up, and I was like, what is that? What does that mean? Yeah. So then I just started listening to podcasts about regenerative agriculture. And whenever fall rolled around and the farmer's market was getting ready to close, I was like so sad that I would have to go back to the grocery store to buy produce, because everything, it was just so distinctly different. The flavor, the way that I felt. Like I thought that I felt really good and healthy before, but whatever it was, the way that they were producing the food or being that connected to my food or the combination of all of it just like took me to another level where I felt this sort of wholeness. And all of this was going on. My parents had acquired the farm on Sang Run Road, which my grandfather had purchased in the 70s.
Wow.
They decided, so I didn't grow up here.
So Mike Frotz is your neighbor.
Yes, he is my neighbor.
See, there's a connection.
Yes.
We are connected. Everybody in the world is connected within 6 ways of Mike Frotz. He was a previous guest.
Yeah. So, so they decided that they were going to move down here full time. And it was sort of a thing where they were leasing out the farm to another farmer, and they were doing corn and soy rotation. And I think that whenever they decided to move here, they just kind of started, it was like a combination that they were sort of thinking about like, well, what does that mean? Like, they're spraying chemicals, and how is that going to affect our quality of life, and just that sort of connection. And then I was, on this whole thing, and I was cooking for them when I would visit them, and I was talking to them about how we could, like just the possibilities of what the farm could be. And so
You've got the land. Let's make something cool out of it.
exactly. And I think for me, like I was super into nutrition. So I was super into the nutritional component of food production. And I actually then studied at the Nutritional Therapy Association and went deeper into this like nutrition rabbit hole. But I wouldn't have ever went and like bought a farm in the middle of Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't my destiny to like be a farmer, to go buy a farm. But it more to me felt like a sense of like we had this land, and it was our responsibility to steward it in a way that like we could feel really good about. That was going to be really good for the community.
Yeah, it aligned with, an inner calling, right?
Yeah, but now that I'm in it, I can't imagine not being a farmer.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, there's been so many hard things that have happened and stuff I never imagined that I would have to do, and I've seen so much death, and but I've also seen like you get to see the other side of it. Like you get to see so much life, and you get to see all of these new things sprouting, and it just sort of makes you realize that it's all just a circle. Like it's just transference of energy. Death creates life, and
That's the main reason that I became a vegetarian, because I grew up eating chicken fingers shaped like dinosaurs. It's like just completely
right.
Completely
Was that really
separated.
chicken?
completely disconnected.
probably was.
Though.
Who knows? But yeah, that's. I mean, I had like a journey around it, and like I told you, like once we went to Costa Rica, and like I experienced like fishing, like because I grew up in Jersey. We went out, they chummed the waters, you pulled bluefish in, woohoo. It wasn't like an actual experience where like I didn't grow up trout fishing and things like that. So once I had that experience, I was like, okay, you know what? I think I'm ready to come back and start eating fish again. And I was talking with you before this, and Mandy's gonna probably be watching, but I always said, I was like, Mandy, I told her, I was like, I had Burger King. She was like, yeah, Burger King. They have, the Impossible Whoppers, whatever. It's like, man, if I'm going to cave on eating beef, I'm not going to eat a cheeseburger from Burger King. I'm going to fly to Japan and get a cow that was massaged to death, and then prepared by somebody who cares so much about that. You know what I mean? But it sounds like we have somebody like that right here in Garrett County, so I don't
what
have
you're
to go
saying
to
is
Japan anymore.
your first cheeseburger. Are we talking about the first
No,
cheeseburger?
he wants a ribeye first, but she's out.
Well,
Yeah.
you can.
Flay's
Yeah.
good.
But no, again, my journey personally, also, I started in the food and beverage industry, and I kind of had more of a passion for sounds silly, but I love knives. I love super sharp knives. I do.
It doesn't sound silly to me.
No, so like I found out that you can proteins and vegetables and all this stuff that you have to cut for the line. It lasts so much longer. If you use a sharp knife, and especially with proteins, and that's the most expensive part of your meal. So I just as a spiritual practice, like started appreciating food through knives, because I was like, oh wow, that's so cool. I had a chef that explained it to me like that.
Yeah.
And then it all kind of started to unwind. And the point I'm trying to make is like I started getting into like soil depletion of minerals and things like that, and why meat is one of those. If you have good grass-fed meat, it's like the highest concentration of minerals, bioavailable minerals that your body needs, that you can't get as much from fruits and vegetables because of the lack of what is it, soil density, I don't know, like the minerals that are depleted in the soil.
Like the organic matter in the soil and just the microbial life. But you brought up a really good point. You said that you started eating fish because you were in Costa Rica and involved with like the fishing in some
really good
way.
fish.
And that's the
amazing.
thing. Like I feel like you felt okay eating fish because you understood like where it came from, and you had that connectedness. And I think that's really cool. Like you don't eat meat, but I still think it's really cool that you want to be conscious about, like, as a consumer. And I think
I have a friend who I was just thinking about should come on this podcast. Her name's Whitney, and it's my wife's oldest friend, and she's an Ayurveda practitioner. And what kind of opened my mind to, like, there's no such thing as one size fits all diet except less processed foods, right? Everybody could do less of that.
Everybody, like, you do something, whether it's like paleo or keto or Whole30 or whatever,
but that
and
usually
people
leads
feel
to less
better.
processed. Yes,
that's what I'm saying. Exactly. So people
Less
are like,
sugar.
"Oh, this worked for me," and it's like,
yeah.
well, maybe like it's just because you ate less processed food.
It could be. But so she, like, in Ayurveda, it comes from an area of primarily vegetarian diets, right? Like, they don't even serve burgers in a lot of the McDonald's in, like, India and stuff like that, right? Yeah, they have vegetarian burgers.
So they don't
cows.
eat beef.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't eat beef. They worship cows.
They like cows.
Yeah.
Not that they don't like them.
Exactly. But they will prescribe red meat in Ayurveda, you
Yeah.
know? And so, like, I started seeing it, like, I'm like, oh, man, it's for me, I could get down with more of, like, a medicinal practice. Because, like, I don't know if I want to eat meat full time, but I have gained an understanding that it is essential for some people's diets, to the point where even in cultures where they don't even eat beef, they'll have a doctor prescribe red meat. Like, okay, no, nothing's going to help you as much as this right now. You know?
I mean, yeah. And I think, I'm always going to advocate for meat because I do think that it is part of I think you could survive without meat, and I think you could.
Mike has.
Yes.
Yeah, but I also have gout, and I don't know.
But I wonder.
How
but
are
that's
you
what
a
I'm saying,
vegetarian
that,
with
like,
gout?
can
I don't
you
know.
We need to get a
thrive?
doctor on the show and explain that. That
Yeah.
doesn't
Right.
make sense.
Maybe because you're.
Can you?
I wasn't saying that
Maybe
because I
because
was
you need to eat-
confused. I was saying
No,
that because
you're saying
to
that
your
because
point.
yes, because it's true. Like, there's just the nutritional composition, the bioavailability of those nutrients. Like, fat isn't fat, protein isn't protein. They're all different. They all have, different amino acid profiles, different bioavailability.
And quality.
Yeah. But I will still always advocate for people to eat meat, regardless of where the meat comes from. If you are going to Walmart and that's the only meat that you have access to or can afford, you should still, by all means, eat the meat.
That two things. So I'm a kid of the 80s. Okay, I grew up in the 80s, and 80s was TV dinners, sitting on the couch with your parents, watching Jeopardy and eating chicken tenders that looked like dinosaurs. Like, that's where marketing was. And that's probably when Crisco came out and all that stuff, right? So then things came around, and I'm not going to say his name because I know he listens to the podcast and he probably doesn't want to say this, and I am not calling you older. But I am friends with a doctor who's older, okay? And he looks very, very, very healthy. And one day I was like, dude, what's up? I was like, why?
He puts lard on his skin.
I was like, no, he doesn't. Maybe he does. I didn't ask that particular question. But he's in his upper 70s. He looks like he's 50, right? And I was like, what's up? He goes, I don't eat anything wrapped in plastic.
Yeah.
Like, his legit
Forks over
answer
knives.
to me was, he goes, if it's wrapped in plastic, I don't eat it. And it's very hard to do. Like, I was super hungry today, so I grabbed a granola bar, or a Lara bar, whatever they're called. You know, and I thought it was healthy. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But that's marketing for you. You know what I mean? But his super quick answer was, if it's wrapped in plastic, don't eat it.
Yeah.
So I don't know where
I like
I'm going
that.
with that.
I like that.
If it comes in a bag, that's that too. That's what I've heard. It comes in a bag or a box.
Oh, I know where my
Or
second,
both.
my follow up
Like
to that
cereal.
I was just.
we understand that. I think the culture's changed. If you go from the 80s to now,
Agreed.
people understand that. In the 80s, they thought this process was good and GMOs are great, whatever.
I think.
Nowadays, people understand that, but I think your the world's real issue, wealthy people have access to it. How do you make it so everybody else can get access to it? That's how do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's just a matter of knowing. There are farmers everywhere. Like, we have so many farmers just in this county who produce food, sell it directly to the consumer. You can buy directly from them, whether it's on their farm or through a CSA. Do you know what a CSA is?
Nope.
So a CSA it stands for Community Supported Agriculture, but basically you can pay them up front. This is with a lot of vegetable farmers. You can pay them
Like
at
a
the beginning of the
membership,
season.
right?
Yeah, and then you get produce every single week from them. So you basically gave them the money in the spring when they were buying the seeds and all of that
cool.
stuff. And then you funded your own food. So
Okay.
and then you get it every week. But But I think there's so many of them that exist, and it just takes more people buying directly from them. And I think you're off to a really good start. I think, avoiding stuff wrapped in plastic, even though our meat comes in plastic.
How dare you? Let's
It hasn't been here very long.
Well, I mean, I know it's insane. I think about it all the time. I'm
I
like,
think he
how
was
have they
meaning,
not
like,
invented? No, I know he was meaning
Walmart.
processed
Yeah.
food, but how have they not invented like vacuum sealed bags that are made from
Something else.
whatever?
tallow.
Exactly. I
Anything
know.
else.
I think we just
Anything else?
forget your app, Mike. We need to invent that.
Nobody
All right,
wants to
deleting
hide.
this from the record.
I
so that way.
think in addition to avoiding plastic, like avoiding processed food is literally having that connection, that like connectedness to your food and knowing where it comes from. And I just think if everybody can try to do that, even if it's just like even if it's just like knowing where your eggs come from or going in on a cow or whatever, then it just opens your mind and your perspective to understanding the impacts of your dietary choices.
I'll check in with him tomorrow. I think by meaning wrapped in plastic, he meant not processed. That's what he meant. He meant not processed.
No, I'm a fan.
get
I'm a
it.
fan of easy rules. You know what I mean? Like for me, I like easy rules. That's why I like, I'm like vegetarian, boom, I'm automatically eating less processed foods. Or for me, I also like intermittent fasting. It's like, okay, I'm doing less. I'm not doing more. You know what I mean? And then that didn't work for a while because then I would just eat a bunch of junk
I get so hungry.
Whenever I come
by 12 o'clock, I'm just so hungry.
I was telling her about keto earlier. I'm not like you don't know what it is, I'm sure. But I meant for me, I love it because it works really well with intermittent fasting when I'm trying to clean up my diet. So when I'm in keto, I was like, I don't know if you've asked or somebody was like, how do you know? Probably not you, because you used to do that thing.
It wasn't me.
I know. I was like, well, I can go 20 hours without eating and I'm not hungry. You know what I mean? Like it's very, good for that. And right now I'm trying to trim down. So it's a good works for me. But I'm going to say here on the air, if I start eating meat, I'm going to come talk to you.
I also think, like you said,
down.
I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I also feel like you said you might not want to eat meat all of the time. And I feel like a really good thing that you could do if you don't want to eat meat all the time is to incorporate organ meats, and like bone broth.
Yeah. Oh, well, see, that's another thing that I would love to start doing.
So speaking of Lee and Joni, I really want them to make like a bone broth cocktail.
Oh, yeah. Have you? Oh, my God.
Do you sell bone broth?
So it's the similar.
What would it be in?
Like when we we talked about.
Lee made a. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Before I forget, there was a cocktail on at Firewater called Faux Real. And that would be good with bone broth because it's basically pho. It was like a pho cocktail.
As a vegetarian, would you drink it?
No. But as a reformed vegetarian, I absolutely would.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
we
Yeah, I
cut
didn't mean to
you
cut you off. Yeah. You want them to
Do
make
we
a
sell
bone
bone broth?
broth.
Well, I actually need another drink.
Well, if you don't remember where you are, well, we're here. We brought you one.
Oh, how long has that been sitting there?
Well, we wait.
17 minutes.
So, since we know he's listening, and I do need a favor from you, and I think you're going to agree to this. So, I didn't realize you were friends with the McHenrys.
That is so strange. Here.
You would think it was wrapped in plastic, but it's aluminum. So, Brent wants us to get a couple cows.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm kind of cool about it. I think it'd be a great idea. Here's the catch. Brent wants us to butcher them ourselves.
Yeah, I'll help you.
Dear God. I was hoping you would say you would talk us out of it. Will you at least help us?
Oh, no, I'm down. Yeah.
Okay. We're in. That'll be an episode right there in itself.
We'll do it.
We'll do the tarot card reader, the
On-site butchering.
on-site butchering.
So-
You've done it. Like you have butchered a. Okay, I think it's different than a deer, right?
I've never butchered a cow.
Okay, so it'll be a learning experience for all three of us.
Yeah, it would be a learning experience. We could also.
I was hoping you had a little experience there.
Somebody has to have experience.
Mike, please bring your sharp knives. Good grief.
I'll do that. Yeah.
On the projector is YouTube.
Okay.
Forget cow patty bingo. We're on to something here.
Get a projector, right? A projector and a projector screen.
So
Peter, pay attention.
one of my really good friends is a butcher, and he would totally be down to help us. And Yeah, I think it'd be a great experience. I've done like pigs and, chickens and lambs.
So, I got to tell the story, but I wasn't there. So, obviously, Brent, he
Why
butchered.
is Brent not here?
I don't know. He's got to be on here. So he butchered the three.
love that.
The 3 chickens, and so we did it all. He did it all right. And he's back in the house, and it's him and his wife and his kids and our other neighbor, other friend. And the chicken had been dead for a couple of hours at this point, right? And so they're sitting there, and it's on the kitchen or the kitchen counter, and my one friend picks it up and hands it to him. They're going to get ready to quarter it and cut it all up and everything, right? So when he picks it up and hands it to him, the chicken goes, bark, and it had been dead for a couple of hours. So our assumption was that it still had air in its lungs or something. And
Yeah,
when he picked it
probably.
up, but
Was the head still on it?
no. I don't know how the whole thing happened, but it was really
How many
Pet
explicit
Cemetery.
signs can we put on this episode?
So your friend the butcher.
You don't have any
Your
PETA.
hey man,
viewers.
this is a home.
We'll take any viewers, actually.
So anyway.
No such thing as bad publicity.
We're gonna need your friend. This isn't our home. This was not being sold. Somebody else's home.
They
and
don't
not being
care about
sold. But
that.
anyway, it was kind of neat. It was like, bark, but
Yeah.
you want to talk about tripping out your kids?
For our PETA listeners, Brent's a really nice guy. I'm sure he wouldn't do anything to hurt that
No.
chicken in any way
Other
other
than
than
kill it.
eating it.
Do you, what kind of chicken meat do you process? Because I don't eat a lot of red meat. So do you do like ground chicken or do you just do wings, like on the chicken meat that you process?
Yeah, like what cuts do we have?
Yes.
So we have chicken and turkey. You don't eat pork or beef really?
Not
Or-
a ton. I mean, we'll definitely eat it every now and then, but we don't eat a ton.
Yeah, so
Maybe
we have,
once a week we'll do red meat.
we have everything. You should definitely come to the farm store because you'll
Yeah.
see all of our freezers and like how stocked they are. So we have ground chicken, we have
Perfect.
Cajun chicken sausage, hot Italian chicken sausage,
What?
mild Italian chicken sausage, chicken kielbasa, breasts, leg quarters, thighs, drumsticks, wings, whole chickens.
Oh, wow. Perfect.
I would love to do this. There's got to be a way to get you connected with our website that if a renter comes here for the weekend, they can buy stuff from you and have it at the house when they
That
get
would be
there.
amazing.
There's got to be a way
All,
to do
all
it.
We've
you have to
talked
do
about
is
that
give us
for a long
cards.
time.
Just give us little cards and it goes
The
in every
thing about
single
that,
bag.
I'm coming up here. I want to grill out. I don't know the area that well.
Yeah.
I know Walmart. I don't want to
And-
go there. I would buy that as a.
There's
as
an
a
app
guest.
worth building.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that would be amazing. I think like a lot of the people who are visiting are looking specifically for that. It's
Yeah.
people who live in cities just are I feel like are exposed to like
Sure.
grass-fed beef or regenerative agriculture or whatever more. And so I think I always find that whenever a tourist finds us, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that
Thank
you're
God
here."
we're-
Yeah.
I have
sort of
another
thing.
friend who sells meat to NFL players, and part of his responsibility is making sure they don't have steroids, stuff like that, in them to pass tests. But it is becoming more and more popular.
I definitely think so. I mean, I think a lot more people are talking about like how are we raising animals? What are they eating?
I know I was going to ask you. So you give the cow or the pig antibiotics, right? There's got to be a formula behind it. How long does it take to leave their system? So if the cow has something wrong with it and you give it an antibiotic and then you butcher it 2 years later, that's
Yeah,
probably out of the system.
It
right?
would say on like I think the medicine would say how long you can give something, like what the withdrawal period is, basically. I
Right.
think they've done like a lot of testing on how long those things stay in.
And your
system.
big issue is probably steroids. Like you don't give the animal steroids.
No.
Okay, cool. I thought that was going to be the answer, but I'm assuming other.
No,
No,
yeah,
that's-
we don't give them
antibiotic-
anything. Like we don't.
Shoot,
Yeah.
I was really glad that was your answer. You've been like, yeah, we do that.
No, we don't give them anything. except-
Antibiotic resistance is like one of the big vegetarian diet like arguments. That's
Yeah.
the thing. So that's why I like hearing that. But
Yeah, no, we
Personally.
don't do any of that. It's just like what feeding them an appropriate diet, moving them around, letting them express their species instincts, and
All
they're
right.
healthy animals.
Kristen, it's your turn.
All right. What are you salty about other than labels on food?
oh yeah.
If you want to go with that,
Boy,
go with that just more in depth. I like that too.
What am I salty about? Oh my gosh, I feel like I had things that I was salty about.
Had you listened to this podcast before you came on it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, I've listened to multiple episodes.
Which one did you like the best?
Oh, I know what I'm salty about. I am salty about people calling an animal, like a specific species, dumb.
Ooh.
Like chickens are dumb, or
I could argue they're not.
they're
not.
They're not.
Yeah.
They're literally right, exactly. Like they have an egg and then they become broody and they sit on the egg until the egg hatches and then they have this little chick that they take care of and feed, and they know how to do everything without like calling their aunt or reading a book or
They don't have an app. They don't have Uber or Uber Eats.
they just know. They have like an innate intelligence, and I think all species do. I think humans do too. I think we just let a lot of stuff get in the way.
We also it's like we're like one day we were like conscious. We're like, where am I?
Yes,
why am I here?
exactly. And why do I have to like eat something that it has to die? Like that's the thing.
Exactly,
like right,
yeah.
it's like our consciousness that makes everything so much
Yeah, if
more
anybody's dumb, we're
complicated.
dumb.
We
Yeah.
do, but we're our own worst enemy with technology. Like I think about that. Like there's so
Double-edged
many.
sword.
There's so many times that people just text. I'm like, dude, you could figure that out yourself. Just don't text. Or to use me as an example, I used to know every road in Garrett County. I used to know every road here. If you tell me where it was, I'd know where it is. I find out that I don't anymore because I
Yeah.
rely on my GPS.
Yeah, totally.
Like it's before I used to leave the office, I would know where I was going. I knew where I had to turn. I knew where every road was. And if I really think hard now, I probably will. But technology's kind of made me dumber.
Yeah.
See, my perspective on
Chickens
that
don't
is,
have apps,
No, they definitely
No.
they don't need them.
but they
That's
do
the
have
point.
beeping doors and whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like technology is like something. Again, it depends on what you're doing, how you're using that extra time and that extra energy, right? So automate all the shit you don't care about. Who cares? Like I don't care about knowing roads. Personally, I love maps. I do, but I would as long as you're using that energy for something like I love making music. Right. So I would rather just automate all the things in my life, either through hiring other people or through technology, having a calendar on my phone so I don't have to remember a bunch of stuff, and then dedicate all of my mental energy and focus towards music. Remembering, like it makes more sense. I don't want to look at a spreadsheet every time I got to remember like a musical scale.
Yeah.
That's what I want to use my mind for, But anyway,
Yeah, I
Makes
get
sense.
that.
love technology. Just saying.
So there are no dumb animals.
No.
No.
Oh, no, is
are-
there?
Yeah.
No.
there's
No, all
There's
animals
gotta
are
be a
smart in
dumb
their own
one.
way.
Everything
No,
is endorsed
it's
with the holy
context. Like
intelligence.
so, it's like your perspective that like the animal isn't dumb. You just tried to fit it into like some other species box.
Yeah.
That it doesn't actually fit in.
We started this show with you asking about Brutus, my bulldog. I loved him. He is dumb.
Well, dogs are mostly like humans.
I could argue that both ways. I love that
He's
dog,
partially conscious.
but he wasn't all that smart.
All right.
Do you get out much? Have you been to the Honi? Have you been out and had it
Honi
going out?
question?
Yeah.
Oh, I have two really good Honi stories.
Oh wow! All right, let's hear it.
Okay.
We'll do A and B. We did that last week too.
A and B.
Yeah.
Which should I start
Or
with?
1 and 2.
So I went to Wine Festival, and it was a couple years ago, and it was a really nice September day, and I wore this like white mid-length cotton dress.
And you went to the Honi after?
So we went to Mountain State,
Okay.
which is right across from my home.
Mm-hmm.
But the group of girls I was with were like, "We're going to the Honi," and I was like, "Absolutely not! I can walk home right now." And they were like, "Well, the Uber's here," and I was like, "If you guys got an Uber in Garrett County, then I am so impressed that I will go to the Honi."
They brought their own Uber driver with
It was
them.
probably Caitlin.
Yeah, I was like, "Okay, I'll
think
go
she's
to
the
the
right one.
Honi." So we get to the Honi, and it's like so jam packed and crowded, and there's so many bachelorette parties,
No.
and I start like getting all these questions because I'm wearing this white dress.
Oh.
Like, when is your wedding? Oh my god, congratulations! And it went on so long that one of the girls I was with ended up like finding like a sash for me that said like bride to be and a veil. And by the end of the night, I was like up on stage playing the
Tambourine.
tambourine, getting, congratulated on my big day.
No way.
Did you make up details? Were you like, yeah, it's June 7th?
Oh yeah, but I was hammered. I don't remember them, but I
June 7th is top
definitely
of
did.
the day.
The funniest part about it is that my boyfriend Frank was there with me the whole time, and I'm like, who would take their boyfriend to like their bachelorette party?
Yeah.
And after the
Only a
whole thing,
sick person.
yeah, he was just like, he's like, when we get engaged, like, I don't care where your bachelorette party is. Go to Vegas, go to Mexico, but you cannot have it at the Honi. Like, it's too crazy.
Decided that night.
One of my favorite things to do is when we go on vacation, my wife's parents live in Hawaii, so we go to visit my wife's parents. And what I'll do is I'll stop by the marina, and there's all the boats there. And I'm like, hey, listen, if you guys have an open spot, I'd like to come. You know what I mean? So you don't have to rent a boat. Normally take out 6 people. There'll be 5, and I'll be that 6th guy, right? So when I get there, nobody knows who I am. And it's great. They'd be like, where are you from? And I'm like, Texas. I'm like, what do you do for a living?
Oh, they're going to be listening.
You're a
I'm
farmer.
a welder.
Yeah.
I'm a farmer.
Now
You know,
he's a
whatever.
regenerative farmer.
But it-
Regenerative farmer.
Yeah, I'm a
Next trip.
degenerate farmer.
but it's great. Like you just don't have to be yourself. I can talk about whatever I want to. So now it's pretty cool.
That's why I love living in Garrett County. Start a podcast, start all kinds of
Nobody asked me what color on that trip. Nobody goes, "What color should I paint my?"
Oh my
bathroom?"
gosh.
Yeah, paint it blue. Blue's always good.
All right. What's
All right.
your second story?
Yeah. Part
So this was an actual legit bachelorette party, and we ended the night at the Honi, and we ran into Jeremy Renner and the
Oh, I got tons of text messages that night. Yes.
and the bride was like, "Oh my god!" and everybody was like, "Oh my god!" She's like,
Wait, it was
"All right."
Aubrey, right?
That
Was
was
it Aubrey?
Aubrey's
Yeah.
bachelorette
It was
party.
Aubrey.
Oh,
Yeah.
you went to Aubrey's bachelorette
Yeah.
party. So you wound up. I was at Black Bear that night, and you guys wound
Oh,
up
we were
showing
at
there.
Black Bear
I know.
later.
So you guys all came to Black Bear, and I was fucking wasted for the first time ever, and all these people from Raleigh show up. I'm like, no. I'm like,
Yeah,
I have no idea how many text messages I got that night. Like,
Bear.
all you guys were there except for me.
Yeah.
Well,
it was fun. I fell asleep.
So
I'll
did
tell
you
you
get
the
to
funny
talk to
part
him?
was
Yeah,
Yeah, did you
so
get to talk
she
to him?
wanted to take a picture with him, so they took a picture together. We're all like standing around.
Are you guys friends? You and Aubrey?
Yeah, I think so.
That'd be embarrassing if you weren't.
How about this?
No, you
Aubrey,
kind of. Now
don't
you brought it up.
confirm.
You
No,
remind
she
me of
just
each other. a
needed
little
more
bit.
people for
Yeah.
like the pictures. So
Okay, you were just there.
That's your side hustle.
I was
Hey,
a
if you guys need
villain, yeah.
pictures,
All of a
very
sudden, you guys
photogenic.
reminded me of each other a little bit. I think you should be friends. This is my better thing.
yeah, that's why she invited me to her bachelorette party. We are.
Gotcha.
So he said something like, "Oh, you're making a mistake," or like, "Oh, don't get married," or something along those lines.
Oh, Brent.
And I was like, "Why would you?"
Different Brent.
I was like, "Why would you say that to her?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't believe in marriage."
Who?
And I
Jeremy
was-
Renner?
Jeremy Renner doesn't believe in marriage. And I was like, "Why?"
Isn't he married?
No.
No.
He was like, "Cause I'm Hawkeye."
And I was like, "But why would why would you say that? Like
That is
that's
strange.
kind of rude. She's clearly getting married. She's on her
Yeah.
bachelorette party." And it just turned into this conversation. He's like, "Well, do you live here?" And I was like, "Yeah, I live here." And he's like, "Where?" And I was like, "I live right across from Mountain State Brewery. Like, do you know where that is?" I don't know. It's just like a whole back
Did he
and
show
forth
up
thing.
later?
He was working
No.
his
Let me
Jeremy
in.
Renner game, wasn't he?
He was like, "What do you do?" And I was like, "I am a farmer." And he's like, "You're not a farmer." And I was like, "Yes, I am a farmer." And he was like,
No, this is legit. This is a legit story. Okay. Keep going.
And he was like, "Well, what do you farm?" And I was like, "I raise multiple different species of livestock. I have pigs, chickens, cows, sheep, blah, 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 blah." And he's like, "How many sows do you have?" You don't know what a sow is.
I don't know what that means.
Oh.
Okay.
Is that a horse?
The average person doesn't know what a sow is.
So that
A
proved he knew
sow-
what he was talking about.
Exactly.
Or he's been a
What you
farmer on a
eat
movie.
is what
It's
you
a
sow.
female pig.
So it's a mom. It's a female pig that has had a litter of piglets. It's
I'm
a
running through his
sow.
movies. He played a farmer in a movie somewhere. I'm going through it. He's not a farmer. He knows.
So I was like, "What do you know about sows?" And he said he grew up on a pig farm. His stepdad had a pig farm. And we got into this long conversation about pigs. I'm actually shocked. I'm glad we didn't start talking about pigs during this episode because I just like once you get me started, I can't stop.
That your favorite animal?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Whoa, okay. We're gonna have to go along, Mike. I can
Get it going.
So anyway, yeah, it was just that was basically the gist of it. We had a pig connection, and yeah.
Did you like go home and like lay down and you're like, did I actually have a conversation about pigs with Jeremy Renner? Like, were you thinking about that? Like hours?
No.
No, she was like,
I
I got to get up tomorrow.
No, I wasn't like a big fan or
Those
anything.
damn pigs
Yeah.
get up early.
So it wasn't like, I don't know. I wasn't a big fan.
You weren't,
I'm not a big-
starstruck.
no, I wasn't
Yeah.
starstruck. And I was also kind
Whatever.
of.
Have you seen
know.
The Town?
Super drunk.
Top 10 best movies ever.
Yeah.
Have you seen The Town?
Yeah.
With him and Ben Affleck?
Yeah, but
You didn't like it?
I didn't. I'm not saying that I don't like his movie.
Oh,
I'm just
I
saying.
hope he's listening. There's
just
three.
saying
Me too.
She
I'm
wasn't
really hoping it
impressed.
starts at
Someone that I
Twitter.
was
There's three
starstruck
where he's
over.
best
like,
movies
I
in
did
the
not
world.
say that to that lady about her getting married. I never said anything.
Number one is Heat. Heat with Robert De Niro. Boom. Heat. That is the best movie ever. Tombstone. Jeremy, you're kind of tied.
I never seen
and
Tombstone.
Town.
Why don't you
Man,
guys have
The
Jeremy on
Town.
the show?
Well, I've emailed him a bunch.
Ask him. You're the one who's got,
We're
one-on-one.
hoping this
Okay,
goes
I'll
viral.
Well, he's
text
got his
him
little
when I
comedian friend that
leave.
makes fun
We
of
hear
us,
that
but I don't
we-
know what his name is.
We hear that famous people change their numbers often, so
Yeah.
you might have an outdated number.
No, he just texted me yesterday.
Oh, okay.
For real?
We actually FaceTime.
Tell him I
but-
made fun of
They're
him.
talking about their
You got
cows.
your arm around your pig. He's got his.
Tell him we'll take his buddy out on pontoons. He knows what that means.
Pontoon
Yeah.
boat. I'm there.
Nothing celebrities love more than going 10 miles an hour.
Did you guys know this is the largest lake in Maryland?
We'll give him some facial cream and he can come down and go to the yacht club.
Some lard.
So anyway, where were we going with this? Pigs. Why are pigs your favorite animals? Why?
Oh my God. They're just the best. So I never thought that we would even have, I didn't think we wouldn't have pigs. It just wasn't, I wasn't the most excited about them. I was way more excited about cows and sheep because we had so much pasture and they eat pasture. And pigs will eat some grass, but like we talked about
That's
earlier.
what I should get as a pig? Or 3 or 4? You know.
Okay, so pigs use their snouts and they root. So like they root into the soil. I don't know if that makes sense, but
I think it'd be so cute. Look out
Like-
the window in the
like
morning,
a root?
pig rooting down.
Yeah, they, like, dig
exactly.
down.
They dig into the soil with their noses. That's how they find
Did
food.
they find any truffles?
Well, I don't. Are there truffles?
I don't know. Probably not.
No.
Oh, there's a lot of mushrooms around here. Though. How about morels? Did they find any morels?
No, I think that they have to be like trained
Okay. All right.
to do that. But yeah, so they use their snouts and they root around. They don't. So pigs can't sweat, so they don't have sweat glands.
Wow.
So that's why you see muddy pigs because they use mud to cool off. But because they don't have sweat glands, they don't smell. Like they don't release odor. Or they do actually release some odor, but it smells sweet. Like it smells like cinnamon or maple syrup.
No.
We're
swear to God.
like,
You were the only
You
person
smell
ever to say a pig
delicious.
smelled good.
I love you, but you smell really good.
That's how we know you're a real farmer. They smell great.
They do, I swear. It's the only, like, they don't smell bad at all. They smell good sometimes.
Interesting.
But yeah, they're just friendly. They're cute. Like the ones that I raise have the ears that, so some pigs have ears that go up and some pigs have ears that go like this.
The floppy
their
over their eyes.
Yes. And
That's
so like
pretty cute.
every time they're trying to like look at something, they're like,
Like a valley girl with their hair.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they're trying to get it out of their face. Yeah.
So how many
That's
pigs do you
hilarious.
have? How many at your farm? How many do you have?
So we have right now, so we are lighter on pigs than normal. Right now we have about, I think 30.
Are they kind of like dogs?
No, we have more like 25 pigs on
Like
farm.
you can be like, come here, Wilbur.
So I would say they're probably the most similar to dogs, but no, like they care. It's the same thing. Like they care more
No.
about the other pigs than they do about humans,
That's
for
pretty
sure. But they do like having their bellies scratched and
Don't we all?
Wait. They'll come up to you and like lay on their back like my
Yeah.
dog does, and you scratch his belly.
100%. So if you start like scratching, they'll like slowly like fall over and collapse.
They're like lower, lower.
They do that. Yeah, they definitely do that. The
We have a-
pigs are really cool.
We have a new dog named Luna, and my youngest daughter, she's 11, and I will give the dog the forehand scratch. So my two
She's
hands
a
plus
leaner
forehand
too,
scratch.
man.
Oh, dude, she would just go in heaven. So four hand scratches, they like them. Oh yeah, she's
We
a
should have
leaner.
recorded this on the farm, like with the pigs.
We need to make this mobile. That
Mobile.
would be.
We
It
did
is
talk-
mobile.
we did talk
All we need is
about it.
electricity and Mike to move everything.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, so
On this table, this
we have stickers now.
Yeah, we have some merch. But
get our stickers.
speaking of merch, You should have a T-shirt that says "Put some lard on it."
Oh,
Yes.
Like that-
Put some lard on it.
That just seems like that's going to be the answer to life. Like your skin's dry, put some lard on it.
We're gonna send
Food
one to
doesn't have any
Jeremy
flavor,
Renner.
put some lard on it.
Actually, we'll send one to Ben Affleck, not Jeremy Renner, and he'll get ticked off.
I want the first shirt. Put some lard on it. That's it. That's the $1 million idea.
Okay.
That's perfect.
If you had to sum up a mission statement right now, could you? And what would it be?
Need a beer for
You
it?
seem
Yeah.
like you're on a mission. That's
For-
why I say that.
For like a personal mission or a
You choose.
business mission.
Yeah.
So I think I said it a little bit earlier, but our mission is to produce food that's good for the animals, good for the land, and good for us as humans. And I think the second part of our mission is to connect people both to their food and to each other through community events and through just knowing where your food comes from.
Sounds like you're doing it.
I hope
Hell
so.
yeah.
I'm trying.
So
you
you
guys
are.
have to come to one of our events.
We
We're
will.
gonna be
Oh,
there.
I will be. Yeah.
St.
I was
Patty's
supposed
Day?
to be there
Yes.
on Sunday.
We'll be there St. Patty's Day for your ribbon
St. Patty's
cutting.
Day?
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing. We will have
I'm
Kristen will be the one with the big scissors that cuts the
Yeah,
ribbon.
yeah, I'll
She
give
already
you the
has
scissors.
big scissors.
She's the diplomat of the year, or she
Oh,
was.
no, I wish.
She lost. I think
Stupid Connor.
Connor beat him.
Connor.
Yeah, Connor.
You
did
can't be too
snag
upset
me.
about Connor winning. I mean, you
Yeah,
guys
so
are
I
playing-
approached Julie about joining the chamber. She's like, oh, Connor already talked to me. And I'm like, I know.
Of course he
Damn
did.
you,
He
Connor.
always
Diplomat of the
did.
year.
I
Pay
can't wait for
attention
him to hear
farm
this.
animals. It's, you want to talk about herding cattle?
Wait, what?
What?
No, herding cats.
Herding cats, whatever it is.
Who's good at herding cats?
Just
My
stick to the
wife.
farm.
That's pretty much it. We have like 6 cats at the house. I love it.
And you heard them?
No, that's the thing. That's the thing she understands. They don't want to be herded.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
So they
Cats
just
are-
flock.
Yeah.
They just come to her.
But can you milk them? So
You
anyway,
don't smoke anything.
I'm a mammal. John, can you milk me?
we'll try later. Hey, thank you for being on this show. I think we're past an hour. Thank you for being
Thank you for
Thank
having
you for
me.
caring about the environment. Thank you for doing all the sustainable stuff you talked
Oh, yeah.
about.
What's your name?
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, the whole episode didn't know
No, we're
name.
going to put it in the intro. Don't worry.
We didn't say your name in the beginning.
My name is Julie.
Hi, Julie.
Friend.
Julie, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You started talking about the farm, and I was like, she didn't say her name. And we just kept going. I was like, she
How did you guys
never said her name.
that with each other?
No.
No, I didn't. I didn't because I'm like,